Sir David Attenborough is here. He has spent his life exploring and documenting the natural world. Since joining the BBC in 1952, he has dedicated his documentary film career to creating nature programming for television. His series Life on Earth and the Private Life of Plants have attracted over 500 million viewers. His latest project, The Life of Birds, explores the habits and habitats of hundreds of species of birds. I am pleased to have him back at this table. Welcome back.
Thank you.
What a great picture on a book. How's that for a beak?
Nice bird. Nice
What
bird.
is that bird?
Well, it's a toucan, but it's not quite as nice as it looks. It looks comic, doesn't it? But in fact, it eats nestlings of other birds.
That's not good.
That's not too good.
No.
You see one of those sticking that beak into a hang nest and picking out a little naked neckling, throwing it up in the air, and catching it and gulp.
Bad bird. How much before you got involved in this did you know about birds?
Well, I guess I knew a bit.
A bit, not much, a bit.
Well, yeah, you know, one mustn't boast.
I mean, you were not as we say in America, a birder.
I'm not as good as a lot of people I know at identifying birds from a snatch of a song or just a flick of a vision.
Were you a bird watcher? Would you go out and spend, before you got involved in this, spend time?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing that since I was a kid. But the thing is, whereas some people get a charge from seeing something that's extremely rare, I get more of a charge of seeing something common, but trying to do something rare and trying to work out why it does it and how it does it.
Okay, what would doing something rare, what would that be?
That would be entertaining 3 mates at the same time.
With a little... insects or...
Insects.
Oh, 3 at a same time?
Not at the same time. No, let's not get too far the details into this.
Kiki birds.
Well, there's a very common bird in this. I mean, we all tend to think that mummy bird and daddy bird, and they bring up baby birds, but actually it's not like that in a lot of instances. One of the really common birds in the British Gardens, a thing called a hedge sparrow, the female will have an alpha male, that is a main partner, but because she wants other males to help her bring up the kids, she will keep another 1 or 2 young males in reserve, as it were, and whereas she mates with the king male, with her first male, on the middle of the lawn, proudly, and then she would go under the rhododendrons.
What's the name of this bird?
Well, people, a lot of names put to it, but hedge sparrow is the one we normally use.
Hedge sparrow?
Hedge sparrow.
Oh, my God.
And she goes under the rhododendrons, you see, and has a little quickie.
A little quickie?
A little quickie.
Under the rhododendron?
Under the rhododendrons, and then comes back.
This is oh, my God.
I've shocked you.
Yes, you did. Oh, God, those birds.
Oh, God.
But why, the question for you is why birds? I mean, what is it about birds?
Because birds are the one contact that almost every one of us has with the wild world. There can't be anybody except perhaps some poor convict in San Quentin or somewhere who doesn't see a bird sometimes in the day.
Who's in solitary confinement.
That's right. We all see birds. And we don't see wild mammals, we don't see reptiles, you know, we all see birds. And what's more, they come to they're friendly, they come to, and then they lift their wings and disappear.
Yeah, and they're graceful, and they're pretty, and
they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're not all good, though.
No, well, some are.
Well, this one, for example,
too good a
is
time,
not so good, and there are others that come in and are destructive.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know, but so are kids.
Yeah, exactly. What's your favorite bird?
The birds of paradise.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they?
Birds of paradise? Well, they are the most beautiful birds in the world. They have the most extravagant decorations. They live entirely in the...
Do we have pictures of these birds in here or not?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, some of them.
All right, go ahead. Tell me about the birds of paradise.
Well, they just are extremely varied in their plumage, and they are all polygamous, I regret to say.
Oh, they are?
Well, quite a lot of birds
Bad birds again. Oh, my God. No monogamous birds around here.
Well, there are some.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Right. Albatross are monogamous.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Albatross is monogamous. They are.
And you know why?
No.
Well, because they're young, for the same reason that we're monogamous, or think we're monogamous, or pretend that we're monogamous.
Right.
They have kids, they have youngsters that take a long time to rear. A baby albatross takes over a year from hatching to when it's going to be free and when it can fly itself. So the male has to keep coming back year after year, month after month, day after day. having flown for 1,000 miles to get food for it, and so it has to stick with its own female. Now, so then when it comes back, it can't breed the next year because it's taken over a year to rear one baby. When it comes back next year, there's the same mate saying, well, how about it again, kid?
Okay, that's an exception. Generally, birds play around a lot, don't they?
Well, some do.
Yeah.
Some do.
Is this a bird of paradise here?
That is a bird of paradise, yes, but there are 40 different kinds of birds of paradise.
No, but you like these because what?
Well, because they're so beautiful. And they have extraordinary courtship dances. Now, there's another interesting bird. That is a bowerbird, which also lives in New Guinea, which puts these things here, accumulates them. See, it's got it in its beak there, and it brings it along and puts it there. This is not a nest.
What are those red things?
They're blossoms.
Blossoms, okay.
And it's like a treasury, that is. Yeah. And he is putting it there to say to the females, see what treasures I've got. And he arranges them in different ways.
So it's to impress the female.
Exactly. And there's another bird of paradise.
Oh, there's another bird of paradise right there?
That's right.
Yeah. Wow, and this is what?
Well, that's another bowerbird.
That's a bowerbird, okay.
A bowerbird.
But this is all about impressing
females.
Female.
Yes.
Saying, look how pretty these things I collected for you.
Well, what do you mean for you?
No, the bird said. One bird says, "Look, I collected all this thing. They're beautiful, but I did it for you."
Yeah, I did, darling.
Oh, darling. Yes. All right, let's take a look. This is also a documentary, which is, as we always said, this is a companion book, roll tape. This is a night camera, you with a night camera, watching a kiwi on the beach eat its dinner. Roll tape. Watch this.
Our starlight camera can see much better than I can. I need a torch to see this extraordinary creature properly, but it doesn't seem to mind.
Now, here's what's interesting about that. Can you do things now that when you began this great interest you had in nature, you couldn't do?
Yeah, I couldn't do that 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I mean, that's very dark. You probably saw the stars. I mean, that's how acute, how sharp that camera was, how receptive it was. And I've...
Probably the first time a kiwi's ever been photographed like that.
As far as I know, it's the first of a truly wild kiwi. Up to about 5 years ago, if you say I want to film a kiwi, they'd say, yeah, come to the zoo. We got one in the zoo, and we've got them attuned to light, so we'll be able to fix it. Yeah. But that was a truly wild kiwi.
So you can do things now you could never have done 3 or 5 years ago. That must make your whole life much more exciting now.
Every year there's something we can do that we couldn't do last year.
Now, the kiwi did not mind you being there, as you explained to me, because...
It didn't know, you see, because it's a nocturnal bird, its eyes are very small. It doesn't use its eyes. It relies on smell. I saw that bird coming out, and I saw it working its way along this strand line of rotting seaweed. Yeah. And I figured if I lay on the rotting seaweed, the seaweed would smell stronger even than me, you see, so that the kiwi wouldn't know. And as he said, he walked along, and he came to within as close as I am to you.
Yeah. The BBC, when you went to them and said birds, they must have just said, all right, go, David. It's a perfect idea.
And you must work for very nice bosses. Is that what they say to you? Is that what they say to you?
Yes, because I work for myself. I have a conversation with myself.
Oh, I see.
No, no, but they didn't say that.
Well, they said, are you sure? They said, you've got a script here. It says the demands of the egg. Is that a 1 hour show on eggs? I said, yes. It's a 1 hour show.
We're talking about a 13-part series.
Are you sure? Are you sure we want to do 1 hour on eggs? And I said, yes.
And you were right.
And I was right. Yeah. Well, I think so.
Yeah, but you've got a history and a track record with them. So basically, whatever you say, they're ready to go. Not quite.
Well, they argue the toss. Why shouldn't they? They should do.
Where do you put birds, having done this with some of this other stuff that you've done and talked to me about?
Well, I've had a lot of letters saying this is the best thing you've done.
I think so, too. But it's because of the birds. I mean, you bring your...
Yeah, it's because of the birds.
Yeah, they're so alive and interesting, and as you say, they come and they're graceful. And I mean, just to be at sea on the shoreline and see birds come in, I mean, the sheer grace.
Yeah, it's astonishing. And there's one program entirely about flight, about how birds fly.
How do they fly?
Well, how can I explain this?
That's right. Why are your arms so tired? I just flew in from London.
On the other hand, if you're an albatross, you know, it's this. Yeah. And you can watch an albatross for minutes on end, and it doesn't even seem to shift. And that's quite clever.
How many members of your team?
Well, at any one time, there are 4 of us, probably 5, but maximum that's 5. Sometimes there's a cameraman be working by himself. There are up to over 40 different cameramen work on a project like this.
40 different cameramen.
40 different cameramen. I write all the scripts before we start so that we know exactly what we're going to do. And then there's this guy who's crazy about hummingbirds. And we say, OK, I want the tufted coquette, and I want the Jamaica streamer tail, I want the courtship behaviour. And he says, fine, great, I can go and watch hummingbirds. And away he goes.
Yeah. The interesting thing about hummingbirds, Johnny Carson, you remember the great American television icon, put a camera outside in his house or in Malibu or wherever he lives in California, and filmed 24 hours the hummingbird, just and saw all that sort of.
It's in there.
It's in there. The story's in there?
Yeah. Well, not
the Carson story, the hummingbirds.
I wouldn't dare tell a story about Johnny Carson.
The hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds.
Now tell me about them.
Well,
what's unique and interesting, and what makes them special?
Well, they have a very special way of flying, which is unlike that of any other birds. That is to say, they have a universal joint here. I mean, they.
I didn't know that.
Well, actually, their wings form a figure of 8. Yeah. And the wing flips over so that its profile is the same way, which is very, very similar to a helicopter, aerodynamically.
And they can do that for how many hours?
Oh, well, they can do it for a hell of a long time, but the most remarkable thing about a hummingbird, of course, as everybody knows, is that it flies across the Bay of Mexico, at least one of the species does, right across the Bay of Mexico, on its migration from this country down to South America and Central America. And it takes, I think it's about 36 hours to fly continuously. Yeah. And it only just makes it. And if it's the case, as we know it is, that the continents are all shifting, every year Mexico gets farther away from the Rio Grande, you know? And the time will come when that poor little bird won't be able to fly over. It'll just flop into the sea.
Oh, no.
However, it's a long time off.
Now, was any of this trip for this thing perilous for you?
No, I don't go in for peril.
You don't go in.
But we spend a lot of time up in the canopy, 200 feet above the ground. Yeah. But on the other hand, walking across Broadway, as I know to my certain experience, is also quite
much more
tricky.
Dangerous.
Yes.
And you're looking at the birds.
Yes, exactly.
The eagle.
Eagle, yep.
For a lot of us in America.
Oh, the bald eagle.
The bald eagle. Mm-hmm. Great bird.
Great bird.
Why are there lots of them around now, or what's the status?
More than there were. Yeah. I mean, it was quite a shock when the American administration discovered that the bald eagle was on the way out.
Yeah, exactly.
And conservationists were able to do something about it. They got proper backing, and now the bald eagle's okay.
It's a sort of the symbol of America.
It is.
You know, is there a bird that's a symbol of England?
No.
Any other country in the world other than kiwi for New Zealand, I guess?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. What's a cuckoo?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
Is there an area of the world that has the most interesting birds?
Well, South America has the greatest number of birds. Costa Rica has the greatest number of any.
Why Costa Rica?
Because it's on the migration route. It's a bit of a cheat, really.
Oh.
I mean,
it's right there.
All the birds come down and they go back again, and that, as far as
they just happen to stop in for...
that counts as a tick, you see. So you've got more ticks in Costa Rica than anywhere else.
Yeah. Now, which bird do you like least? If birds of paradise you like most, what do you like least?
Vultures.
This fella here.
Yeah, vultures are not too hot.
Vulture? Oh, God, no.
No, I mean, they don't have any feathers on their head. They have these bald heads because feathers would get soiled with all the gubbins which they put their heads into. And you see a vulture take its head out of the inside of a zebra with guts dripping from its beak, and you think that is perhaps not the most attractive of birds.
Yeah. The idea of people who go out into Central Park and just early morning to watch birds is fascinating to me. I mean, they're just the whole notion of quietly looking to spot some bird that they've never seen before.
That is right, and but that is in itself. I mean, you consciously think that that's what it's about, but actually, what it's about is a real thirst that all of us have to be in touch with the natural world.
Is that what it is?
I believe so myself.
But that's part of what defines your life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You are our guide to the natural world.
We are, but all human beings are part of the natural world. We are part of the living world. That's why it's so important to us.
Yeah. Of all the birds, I mean, what are the most endangered today?
Well, there's a bird called the kakapo. The kakapo is a giant flightless parrot that lives in New Zealand.
You have a picture of a kakapo in
I
here?
do.
Endangered.
Endangered. Yes.
5 of them left in the world.
Well, a bit more than 5, but
Yeah.
not much more than 5.
Yeah. What's this?
Well, that is a thing called Notornis, which is also an extinct, very nearly extinct bird. Was thought to be extinct for 50 years, and they rediscovered it also in New Zealand.
How long take you to do this?
3 years.
3 years?
Yes. That's you know, it's 10, 50, 1-hour documentaries.
10 one-hour documentaries.
And that's not bad. 3 months per documentary is not bad.
Now, are you involved in anything other than the writing?
Yes, I write. Well, yes, I present it and direct it.
Yeah, I know you're on camera and you
Yeah,
write
yeah.
your own stuff.
Yeah,
And,
that's right.
and do you get involved in the editing and
Yes.
sort of the final cut and
Yes,
making sure?
yes. But we're what they call a
team.
tightly knit team.
Tightly.
All professionals.
Yeah. The only sad thing here is that during this, your wife Jane died.
Yes.
How did you go on?
Because you're a member of a team, and if you suddenly decide that you are going to hide in the corner and do nothing, the project collapses.
And that's no way to serve a memory.
And it's no way to serve her memory, and it's not what she would have wished. And in any case, it is better to be busy than not to be busy at such times.
It's great to have you back. My
Thank you.
great sympathy for that loss. But this book is, and this television series is a tribute to what the two of you were about. The 10-part series airs on Tuesdays beginning on July 20th. It runs to September 20th. 10 episodes. The companion book is called The Life of Birds. David Attenborough, Sir David Attenborough. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming here. Thank you for joining us.